Did you know that over 50% of adults experience nightmares? That's right, folks. It's more common than you think. Nightmares are more common than we think. They can be terrifying. They can be vivid and disturb our sleep. And they can leave us feeling scared and alone even after we wake up. Today, we're going to talk about nightmares and their impact. We're going to hear one woman's story about her experiences. And we're going to learn how to overcome these nighttime terrors together. Sue Weaver is a kind woman. She has a warm smile, but behind her smile there is a story of fear, a story of nightmares. Sue has been haunted by the same nightmare for years. The nightmare is so vivid, so real, that it began to affect her waking life. Sue's story is not unique. Many people suffer from nightmares. They can be terrifying and debilitating. But there is hope. Sue's story is a testament to that. It's a story of courage, resilience, and ultimately, triumph. Sue's nightmare always started the same way: darkness. She would find herself in a dark, unfamiliar house. She could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. Thump, 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 thump. The air was heavy, thick with dread. She knew something was wrong, very wrong. Then she would hear it. A noise, a soft creak, a floorboard groaning. The sound would send chills down her spine. She was not alone. Someone, or something, was in the house with her, and it was getting closer. Section 4. The Grip of Fear, Nightmares and Mental Health. Nightmares are more than just bad dreams. They are intense, vivid experiences that can leave a person feeling shaken and disturbed long after they wake up. These nocturnal terrors can disrupt sleep patterns and make it difficult to get a restful night's sleep. They can have a real and lasting impact on our mental health. The fear and anxiety generated by these nightmares can spill over into our waking lives, affecting our mood, our ability to concentrate, and our overall sense of well-being. For Sue, the nightmares were taking a toll. She was constantly tired. She had trouble concentrating. Her work performance suffered, and her relationships began to strain under the weight of her constant exhaustion and anxiety. She was anxious and afraid, even during the day. The fear was paralyzing. Simple tasks became daunting challenges, and she found herself avoiding situations that might trigger her anxiety. Sue started to avoid sleep. The thought of facing another nightmare was too much to bear. She would lie awake for hours, staring at the clock, dreading the moment she would have to close her eyes. She was afraid of what awaited her in the darkness. The shadows in her room seemed to come alive, and every creak and groan of the house sent her heart racing. But the more she tried to stay awake, the more exhausted she became. Her body craved rest, but her mind was too terrified to allow it. The lack of sleep only made her nightmares more intense and frequent. She was caught in a vicious cycle of fear and exhaustion. Each night brought new terrors, and each day was a struggle to function. Sue felt trapped, with no escape from the relentless grip of her nightmares. Section 5. Trapped in terror, Sue's recurring nightmare. Night after night, Sue would find herself back in that dark house. The walls seemed to close in on her, the air thick with an unspoken dread. Each time the fear would escalate. Her heart would pound louder, her breaths becoming shallow and rapid. The creaking would get louder, the presence felt closer. It was as if the house itself was alive, watching her every move. Sue would try to run, but her legs felt like lead. She was trapped. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't escape the suffocating grip of the nightmare. One night, the nightmare took a terrifying turn. The storm outside raged with a fury she had never seen before. The shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It moved with a sinister grace, its presence sending chills down her spine. Its eyes glowed an eerie red. They pierced through the darkness, locking onto her with an intensity that made her blood run cold. It lunged at Sue, its cold, bony fingers reaching for her throat. She could feel the icy grip tightening, her breath escaping her. Sue woke up with a gasp, her heart pounding in her chest. The room was dark, but she could still feel the lingering presence of the nightmare. She was drenched in sweat, her body trembling with fear. The nightmare felt so real, as if it had crossed the boundary between dream and reality. Section 6. Facing the fear. Sue's turning point. Sue knew she couldn't live like this anymore. She needed help. She reached out to a therapist who specialized in sleep disorders. The therapist listened patiently to Sue's story. She explained that nightmares are often our subconscious mind's way of trying to process stress, trauma, or unresolved emotions. The therapist taught Sue techniques to manage her anxiety and face her fears. She encouraged Sue to keep a dream journal, to write down her nightmares in detail. She also taught her relaxation techniques to help her fall asleep without fear. Section 7. Breaking free. Sue's message of hope. It was a long and difficult journey, but Sue was determined to break free from her nightmares. Each night she found herself trapped in a cycle of fear and anxiety, unable to escape the haunting images that plagued her sleep. She began to understand that her nightmares were not real. They were manifestations of her deepest fears and insecurities, brought to life by her mind. Sue started to explore different techniques to cope with her nightmares, such as meditation and journaling. They were just products of her imagination. By acknowledging this, she could start to take control of her thoughts and emotions. Slowly, she learned to separate reality from the illusions created by her mind. And with that realization, the fear began to dissipate. Sue found solace in the small victories, like waking up without a racing heart, or falling asleep without dread. These moments of peace became more frequent as she continued her journey. Sue's story is a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles. She reached out to friends and family, finding comfort in their support and understanding. They reminded her that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. If you're struggling with nightmares, please know that there is help available. You don't have to face this battle alone. There are professionals who can guide you through the process of healing and recovery. Reach out to a therapist or sleep specialist. They can provide you with the tools and strategies needed to manage your nightmares and improve your sleep quality. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. There is no shame in seeking help. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not alone. Embrace the support around you and take the first step towards reclaiming your nights. And you can overcome this. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate your progress and keep moving towards a brighter, more peaceful future. We all have our own deadly nightmares. What are yours? Share your stories. Let's break the silence. Together, we can create a community of hope and healing.